Whenever we're ready.
Yes, sir.
Hello, you little bastards. You've made it just in time for the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve, a la Brewski. If it's your first time tuning into the podcast,
welcome to the show.
You'll soon realize that Nick is very decent and just about as sweet as cherry pie. He's one of few that has never done anything wrong.
There's a big part of me that likes to help elderly people across the street. Only I take them about halfway. Okay, and then I just leave them there. I find I'm still doing more than the average person, so it is what it is.
Steve is a guy that's exceptional, exceptionally horny. You definitely wouldn't want to have him around your mom if she's hot, but you will want him at every party. Who brings their mom to a party anyway? He's about as loyal as one person can be, and he loves his female fans.
Oh, I do. I got a fan under the desk. I got a big one over here off to the side blowing me off the camera.
Steve Harness.
How do I even begin to tell you about Brewski? His mind is a vault of semi-useless information. Useless until you need it. It's at that very moment that his oddly overgrown brain will seduce you like Fabio and low-calorie butter.
It's time for another brewski. This one is a crazy brewski.
You're right, dude. We get it. Someone get me some Cheetos. Will you please move on, dude? You're right, okay?
Let's get the podcast going, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Hey, welcome to the program. It is the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. For a while, the radio show, the podcast did some testing. And now we are at the stage where we have become a phenomenon.
It's a phenomenon.
That's what I was saying. And you're all a part of it. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Apparently Nick's been doing some testing and discovered that he looks good with a porn stash.
Well, let me be clear. I don't think I look good with a porn stash. My wife, after a couple of days of, I shaved my beard off, so I have a mustache for the first time ever in my life. And it was for a Halloween costume, which we didn't end up going to the party, so it was all for naught. But I got a mustache. My wife was on vacation. She came home. She saw me and she was like, oh, she looked at me like I was looking at myself. Like, oh, you look ridiculous. And about 3 or 4 days in, I caught her glancing at me and she was like, this might be doing a little something for me. Like it's kind of growing on me. So what am I to do?
It's growing on her and it's growing on you.
Yes, it is. Yeah. That's another reason to tune into the podcast. See Nick with the porn stash.
You can. And tell her to ask her therapist about that. Where's that coming from? Because that's interesting. Right?
I think she just looked at me and saw me. You know what? We're getting ready to celebrate our 15th wedding anniversary. So we've been dating a year before that. So maybe 16 years. I think she just saw me in a new light, dude. Saw me in you know what? Sometimes it's hard to get excited when you see each other every day, and you have to be naked to get excited at some points after 16 years. But now, like, she sees me in a new light, and she's like, wow. And maybe she envisioned it tickling her in areas, or, my face. I mean, she came over, felt my face. She's never felt my face smooth before, so that's a whole new thing.
That's funny. Maybe she'll do some shaving for you as well. Who knows?
Maybe so.
Creative designs. Like Edward Scissorhands. You never know what you can come up with till you experiment.
Like a lightning bolt or something like that.
Let me just say, I'm not a fan of it, dude. Let me be clear. I am a fan of manicuring and, but I like to see a little bush there. I don't want to see hardwood floors because it skeeves me. Yeah. At this age, especially,
Sure. And do you want to see custom designs? Do you want to see logos or something that she's done?
No, like Vanilla Ice lines or something. Yeah.
Brewski said a little lightning bolt or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe dyeing things a little bit, like a different color.
Maybe she could put a Hulkster mustache on her, dye it platinum blonde or something. I don't know. We got options.
Yeah.
I know your wife listens, so these are all great suggestions she's getting from us. So.
Yeah, what we were talking about on the show the other day.
She'll say, usually when I say something stupid on the podcast like this, she'll be like, I heard what you guys were talking about. Well, welcome to the show, The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve, all Brewski, the webpage online, thevocalminority.net, where all our socials are there. And there's a lot of videos out there, dude. Steve has been working hard And when I say working hard, it is a double entendre because he works with a boner and, he works hard. And we're talking a little bit about that work today. We don't just work 9 to 5 around here, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is, I don't know, what do you say? We put in 16, 17 hours a day to produce this program.
Easily.
Minimum.
You say a day or a month? I forget what you say.
Oh, yeah. Probably a month is more like it. But yeah.
Speaking of exciting.
Rachel loved that I tell you guys this. What do you call Dolly Parton in a bathtub?
I don't know. Life preservers? What?
Islands in the stream.
Oh.
She loves that joke. It's like, it's not that good, but it always gets a chuckle.
I've got one for you. How can you tell Dolly Parton's children in a class photo?
Class photo. Tell us, Brewski.
They're the ones with stretch marks around their mouths.
Oh, another good one. Well, we are in the middle of a workers theme. You may notice that because we bring to you an article today that you might find some interest in, especially if you're jobless or looking to make a little transition in your career. I'm going to tell you about 10 jobs that will disappear in the next decade. You better avoid them at all costs. We're going to save you some time. Okay?
I'm curious to know if I agree with these or not. People
you
keep
are
telling me radio's dying, and it's not. I mean, the industry's killing itself in a lot of ways, but I spent a lot of my days refuting that information. So.
Well, I'll tell you this. A little look into our personal lives. Late last week, Steve and I work for a local radio station in Lake Tahoe, California, and there was a commercial that needed producing, and it requires the voice of a woman, okay? Steve's girlfriend was nowhere to be seen. My wife, nowhere to be seen. She was out of town. So we didn't have our female voice because that's our talent pool, okay?
Right. Yeah, we have a limited talent pool. We basically have 3 females, and none of them were available. Stacy wasn't around either. And we had to get this thing on the air the next day. And so, we were debating what guy would voice it, because what else were we going to do?
Yeah. So, Brewski, do you know what I did?
What did you do?
I decided, you know what? I'm going to go in and
put on some lingerie and do your best female voice.
Yeah, that's what you probably expect me to do, but no. I found an AI program and I typed this commercial into AI,
okay.
and then I tweaked it a little bit. Like it's got certain things that you can have it be excited. You can have it be sad or angry. You can choose your emotion. And then you can also put pauses into certain areas, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you control it? Unlike real women.
Yeah, that's right. How do you think it would have come out?
Robotic, choppy, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's I was just about to say, really kind of cut up, and
there's no chance I could play it on the air as a commercial, is what you're saying, right?
Well, I would say so, yeah. But I'm sure I'm going to be proven wrong. So
What'd you think, Steve?
Honestly, I was amazed. I mean, I knew it had to be AI because I knew you didn't have access to a woman. I mean, the ones you have chained in the back, you can't, they don't work during the day. So it sounded great.
It was crazy, right? Do you want to hear it?
Go ahead.
All right. Here is the spot that is AI or real.
Batter up. Joe's Sports Bar and Grill is the best place to watch all the World Series games. Great food and drinks with TVs everywhere. Inside Harvey's Casino, it's Joe's Sports Bar and Grill.
What do you think?
Pretty good.
It sounds okay. I mean, I knew that it was AI because you told me.
Right.
But
do you think any normal listener, though, would pick up on that? I don't think there's a chance in hell.
Probably not. No.
Like I was telling Nick, if it was a 30-second or 60-second commercial, probably. But that's like a little 10-second ad. And I think it pulled off nicely. But as I was also telling Nick, it makes me want to vomit. We just outsourced, voiceover work to a freaking computer. Like, this is what's going to kill the industry for us. I mean, Spotify nowadays has a virtual DJ. Like, we're not going to need DJs much longer.
And he doesn't sound, I mean, every once in a while I can be like, oh, AI. But 99% of the time, he sounds like a smooth human, dude.
Yeah.
Does it every time. So I wonder if radio will be on this list of 10 jobs that'll disappear in the next decade. Avoid these careers at all costs. All right, So we're going to go over this list and see what it's changing. The robots are coming. I asked ChatGPT to give me the top 10 jobs that would be replaced by AI, and it happily wrote up a list. Well, some of the jobs are not surprising as they can easily be automated, and some have been to some degree in the past. Some seem to be a bit of a stretch. We'll see what you think, but ChatGPT, AI itself, came up with these 10 things and said, this is what I'm going to be replacing.
Okay. Is this one thing on the list just what AI can replace, and then we have other things? Or is this all what AI can replace?
Well, these are the things that will be replaced now that we have AI. So not necessarily a talking robot has to take place in all of these, but like behind the scenes somewhere, your computer is going to run these jobs.
Okay. I think this is going to depress the hell out of a lot of people. So go ahead. It's what we're here for.
First one on the list, and we've already seen this happening. I'll tell you my personal story, but telemarketers. Telemarketing is a job that involves making sales calls to potential customers. However, with the rise of AI, telemarketing jobs are becoming increasingly obsolete. AI-powered chatbots can now handle customer inquiries and even make sales on behalf of companies. Have you guys experienced this?
I don't ever answer my phone for telemarketers anymore, so I don't know when I actually last got ever called by one. I mean, I have voicemails that I let go where I could tell it's some sort of computer voice, but I don't know if that's just how their system works or if that's who I would end up talking to.
Right.
So, my experience has been very limited on that.
Not so much as receiving a call. I have been on the other end of that, but I worked at a car dealership where I was selling cars. And you know when they go to a website and it says, "Can I help you?" That little chat box thing.
Sure.
Well, I worked in the internet sales department, and you would be sitting there and making your calls, but then a chat box would come up, and you'd have to like talk to people on the other end of things.
I still take telemarketer calls because I like to screw with people. So, if I have time, I'll take the phone call. This is my experience as of late, where I have received phone calls that I think might be chatbots, not because of the way they sound, but because of like some of their phrasing, how it comes out. But I get a call for like Medicare supplementation all the time from this chatbot. It's really good. And you can ask her questions and she'll answer them most 99% of the time. So at one point in time, I said, "Are you a robot?" She said, "I am helping you today." Like she wouldn't answer the question, but she was answering the question. You know what I mean? Yeah. So finally, I got her to hang up on me. I had this lady call me last week, and she sounded so much like AI that I said, "Are you a robot?" And she said, "No, I'm a real person with blood beating through my heart." And I thought that's an odd thing to say. That's what an AI would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I asked her, "What's your blood type?" Because I figured AI can't answer this question, right?
Yeah.
She was like, "My blood type?
You weirdo."
Like, weirdo, you freak. I was like, tell me a joke. And then she told me a joke, and I finally said, "Okay, I'm going to tell you a joke." And I told her a joke that made no sense, just to see if they would laugh, right? Yeah. Because they could be programmed. Just laugh. She was like, "I don't get it." So I realized, oh, you are a real person. Nice. So yeah, they fooled me, and I think they're coming for your job as a telemarketer. It's you pay a lot of telemarketers minimum wage, but you've seen those rooms that have like 70 people in one room.
Phone room.
Like selling. What's it called?
They call the phone room.
Yeah, like phone room, So,
I did that job for like a week once in Seattle.
Do you want to commit suicide?
Oh, yeah. It was terrible. So I got laid off. This was when I got laid off from KBSG, the Good Time Oldie station that I had a while back there.
KBSG.
So I'm unemployed and I'm thinking like, all right, like until I get my next radio gig, what else can I do with my voice? And so I thought I should be a telemarketer. I've got a good speaking voice. Like, that should be easy. And yeah, I did want to kill myself after doing that for a few days. And it's not easy to sell people on the phone like that. So I kind of wonder, what the sales track record is for these AI programs. Because if they're closing more deals than I did, then it's another reason to jump off a roof.
Conversion rate.
Right.
You've done telemarketing, Brewski?
Yes.
What did you sell?
Yeah, what were you selling?
Car parts.
Car parts? Why? How would you call people and say, do you need a car part? That
Is your
must
car
have been
running?
really tough.
Well, more times than not, people would submit requests like, I'm looking for a particular thing.
Yeah. So a lot of cold calling, stuff like that. So that's apparently it's going to go away with AI.
I hate cold calling, so maybe that's okay though.
Yeah. Did you have a spiel like ready? Both of you? I mean, like, hi, this is so-and-so from blah, blah, blah. How's your day?
That's probably why AI can take over the job, because all of those jobs, you have scripts that you're reading from. And if you do diverge from those scripts, some manager will come smack you with a ruler or whatever. So, yeah, you're basically just whatever answer they say, you've got like 2 or 3 replies that you can give to them, whichever branch you go down. Yes, no, I don't need it now.
Right.
You've got scripts. They don't want you just selling based on your charisma or skills. You're just basically reading a script. So I guess that is why a computer can just go ahead and do it for you.
As we get into number 2 on my list, it seems like, are we going to see a theme here of these jobs? I mean, it sucks they'll be taken out of the workforce, but these all so far, well, I mean, we're only 2 in, but seem to be depressing jobs to me, okay?
Right.
So, like, why would we want these?
Most jobs are depressing, and people need them, so...
Data entry clerks is number 2 on the list. Data entry clerks are responsible for inputting information into computer systems. However, with advancements in optical character recognition, OCR technology, AI can now automate this task. AI-powered OCR technology can read handwriting and convert it into digital text, making data entry clerks redundant.
Wow. Listen, I talk to Siri all the time, and Siri gets stuff wrong constantly.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a transition where maybe, it'll auto-transcribe, and then they're going to have to hire humans to read it and make sure it did it correctly.
Yeah. But, I mean, if you could get rid of the bulk of people doing data entry and even cut the workforce, by 90%.
Yeah. If I own a company, that's music to my ears. The less of you humans I have to deal with.
Which jobs that I name in this list, you have to think, like Brewski was talking about earlier, like, sometimes we go into automation only to make the return because you've lost that customer experience, that personal, relationship that seems to hurt business in the end. So,
yeah. This is all free market stuff, Corporations will look at the numbers. If the closing rates, like Brewski mentioned, on an AI program is better than the humans, then they're going to go with that. That may then create another company, though, that does better with having humans call and being relatable and casual and all that. Like, pros and cons, but there's all sorts of people that will lose out on that transition.
They used to say on The Office all the time, like Dunder Mifflin paper store was higher prices, smaller store. When all these big box stores came into existence, Office Max, stuff like that. Yeah, you can go get the paper in bulk, but maybe people are going to pay more for the personal account rep, that personal experience, And I got a hardware store that is local. And you see this all the time, Steve, with local business. Like it's a motto, a mantra in Tahoe that support local business, dude. So that's the experience, I think, that you can't get away from that completely.
Yeah. I wonder, though. I was sitting in, I don't remember who I was waiting for the other day, but I was sitting in some mall parking lot, strip mall, and waiting. And I was just looking around at all these businesses thinking, these are all going to go away. Like it's quaint to shop local and want to support them, but that cause will fade out at some point, and Amazon will win. It's just the convenience of what Amazon has become. Click yes, it'll be here in 2 days. It's fine. Like it is going that way. Brick and mortar. Like you're going to have to be very unique to survive over the next 50 years.
This is where the problem lies. This will be the death. Is that there are people like you in a community that does things differently to keep that spirit alive of shop local, people come to you, like it's all, we're supporting our community, and you're a big proponent of that and operate your business as such. When you die out and that next generation is like, nah, it doesn't make sense, dude. It just doesn't make sense.
That's what I'm saying. Like right now, it's almost like some cause to still support the local mom and pop business, but that'll fade. Certainly generationally, it'll fade. But
I also think, though, that as we get older, you appreciate local businesses a little bit more, or more than you did when you were younger.
I agree with that.
It seems to me like the people who kind of espouse shop local tend to be, a bit older and that sort of thing. So perhaps maybe as the generations get a little bit older, maybe they come to that side of things a little bit,
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Like I said, I've got a hardware store locally here that everything is more expensive, but when I go in there, I always know that I'm going to have somebody come up and help me. And if I have questions about a project, they're going to be knowledgeable enough to talk to me about it. I'm so tired of Home Depot and Lowe's.
Yes.
I pay more to go in there,
Yeah.
Because nobody specializes in anything there. I had to get some lumber cut there last summer, and the kid was actually asking, what's that measurement right there? He's pointing to the line on the tape measure and everything. Yeah. And I'm having to teach him how to read a tape measure. And he's about to operate the power saw.
Yeah.
Usually when I go to like Home Depot or something and I ask for a product, they go to the Home Depot website and look up the product. And then they're like, oh, it says it's an aisle 78 now. Like they didn't know. They used a computer to get the answer. So
totally.
Yeah. Out the middleman at some point. And most people nowadays use retail stores to go in, try something, and then go buy it cheaper online and have it shipped.
Right.
So
yeah,
but no, you're right. Do you ever hear my sign off? I know you don't always listen to the end of my, my entire show, but
I mean, I hear it from time to time. I don't hear it every day. Is there something you do daily?
Yeah, I have the same sign off every day. Shop local, tip well. I'll talk at you tomorrow.
Yeah, I have heard that. Yeah.
And the shop local, tip well. I mean, that's obviously designed for, like you're saying, trying to keep this momentum alive for the mom and pop shops and all that. But
sure.
Yeah, the I'll talk at you tomorrow. I find that funny because we're on the radio. I'm not talking with you. I'm talking at you. I'll talk at you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you got the microphone. You listen to me.
Why don't you change it to I'll talk down to you tomorrow?
That's basically what I'm saying. Yeah.
All right, let's keep the list moving forward. Number 3 is bookkeepers. Kind of like data entry, I suppose.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
First of all, I hate bookkeepers.
Because you need them.
Yeah, they're like a lawyer. You hate them until you need them, and then they're your best friend all of a sudden. But between my personal and professional life, I've had bad run-ins with CPAs. They're all egomaniacal maniacs, but yeah, you need them. And the classic, thing that a chat thing is not going to be able to do, or an AI accountant is, if you ask your accountant, what does 1 + 1 equal? Their answer is supposed to be whatever you tell me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you do wonder. I had a guy who did my taxes in radio for a long time, and I was recommended this guy through other people that work in radio. They were like, this guy is the guy to do taxes for radio. I said, what do you mean by that? They were like, he makes a lot of adjustments. Let's just say my returns have been way higher since I've started using them. I was like, okay. And I used them for a while. He was great, dude. But yeah, will AIs be able to cheat the government a little bit here and there? Legally, of course.
Interesting. And in all seriousness, besides the fudging of numbers here and there, there's a lot of interaction with my accountants where I have to explain what I spent that money on and why it was spent or what it was spent, blah, blah. So yeah, I kind of wonder with AI, you would either be able to easily manipulate it and just say, yeah, it was a travel expense and I bought myself a Corvette, or you're constantly having a human having to go back and redo it.
You'll probably get audited a lot more, right?
Yeah, but when you do get audited, it's supposed to be your accountant that then goes and testifies or whatever for you.
Yeah.
They're the ones
Hello, Steve did everything right.
Right.
AI-powered accounting software can automatically reconcile accounts, track expenses, and generate financial reports. But how will they represent you in an audit? Good question.
Now, here's the question. Can that AI accountant explain to the IRS how those $250 half-hour escort that you paid for in St. Louis was a business expense?
Business expense, dude. Of course. It's entertainment.
Entertainment.
Yes, come on. Yes.
It's on the drop-down menu with your AI. Hooker. Subcategory entertainment. Yeah.
This next one on the list is sad because oftentimes this is the person who sits at the beginning of your office when you first walk in. She's usually the hot girl or the hot boy. It's the receptionist. Could it be going away? Why wouldn't it?
I got rid of mine years ago. Like, what am I paying you to sit there all day for? Answer a phone. I got a voicemail for that. Go sell something,
Receptionists are responsible for greeting visitors, answering phones, and directing calls. However, with the rise of AI-powered virtual assistants, receptionists' jobs are becoming increasingly redundant. AI-powered virtual assistants can handle all of these tasks and more.
Yeah.
Even greeting the customer.
My chatbot is good at oral, too. So what do I need the receptionist for anymore?
Best at oral. I would say it's best, right?
Listen, if you have a company that has a lot of human beings coming in and you need that human interaction, it's the only reason for a receptionist. This forwarding calls or whatever other shenanigans, it's all automated now.
Rachel worked at a place where the receptionist, obviously answered the phones and directed phone calls, stuff like that, greeted visitors, but he was so slow. And not physically, but he didn't have work to do, that every day he would put out like a bulletin of the day that he would send around to all the lawyers and partners. And they were the dumbest frickin' things that I'd ever seen. Happy National Ice Cream Day. And then it would have the history of ice cream. I mean, it was like, 10 pages long every day.
Trying to justify their existence there.
Exactly.
Oh, in the modern day workplace, maybe the best thing for the receptionist to do is to take the bullet first, because that's who's going to greet the shooter coming into your workplace nowadays.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that, dude.
So they're expendable in that way, too. So
no. When I think about it, I just think that means Pam Beasley is going away, and I don't like it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You got to fall in love with the chatbot. So
this next one I never thought about. Brewski probably did because he's a published author. The next one on the list is proofreaders. I didn't even ever think about it, but proofreading, they're responsible for checking documents for error in grammar, punctuation, and spelling. However, with the advancement in natural language processing, NLP technology, AI-powered software can now do this task more accurately and efficiently than a human being.
That's dangerous. How many lawsuit stories have you heard about because someone put the comma in the wrong place or whatever? I would question if that chatbot can really get that. And speaking of authors, if you're speaking any sort of slang or euphemisms or whatever, I don't think it's going to get all of that.
No, it's not. And I can tell you from my book, there are a lot of things in there that I would use in my language here in Boston that, of course, AI isn't going to get that. It's going to keep trying to autocorrect and change things.
You don't think AI would know what it meant when you're going to the Packy?
Probably not.
No. I guess you could train it for the Boston version of dialect or whatever. But
then the other thing, though, too, is kind of when you're writing a book, you're trying to tell a story and you're trying to get a certain feeling across. And I don't think that an AI chatbot or NLP is going to get that. Look, I can explain to an editor, this is what I was going for there. And then they can understand what my thinking was when I wrote something.
Sure.
And then maybe they kind of do their thing editing wise, keeping that in mind, what I was going for with that particular chapter,
It's interesting.
I couldn't get through an average document without spell check nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's definitely, that would be like, I think you got to blend these two, a human set of eyes along with a little AI. Like AI could do a textbook, I'm sure, but not a novel like you're talking about. But yeah, like things like spell check and some grammar things I do find helpful. Although occasionally I feel so dumb when I get a word so wrong, spell check can't even figure out what I'm trying to spell.
Yes. No, I rely on spell check. Like I'll start to spell the word and it won't come up and I'll be like, Oh, the O is before the E. I'll try it that way, and then it pops up. I use it all the time, dude.
Yeah.
But maybe the key to this is to have the AI proofreading. It just catches the major things, and anything it questions highlights, and then you have a human that's just going to documents to read these highlighted areas that require what we're talking about. I mean, there's a way to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll work in your office. It's good.
Let me ask you this, dude. I know the answer to this from Steve, but Brewski, when's the last time that you have been into a bank teller?
Oh, probably about 6 months.
Okay. I haven't been to a bank teller in years. I do all of my stuff, on my phone, and I don't even have a bank I can go into. Our bank is based out of California, and there's no branches in Washington, so I don't have a bank I can go into.
Okay.
They say bank tellers are responsible for handling cash transactions. Providing customer service is a key part of their job. However, with the rise of mobile banking and AI-powered chatbots, bank tellers' jobs are becoming increasingly redundant. Mobile banking allows customers to handle transactions on their own, while AI-powered chatbots can handle customer inquiries.
Yeah.
The only reason you go to a bank is for business account, right, Steve?
Yeah, correct. I've noticed for years now that the banking industry is doing everything they can to prevent you from ever going into a bank anymore.
Yes.
I don't know if the people work at the banks to figure that out, but yes, with all the mobile stuff and ATM stuff and limited hours and blah, 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 they've given you every reason not to go into one. I will say, for the only reason I ever go into a bank is for the business stuff, because there's limits on mobile deposits and whatnot, and so I always have to deposit checks manually and stuff. But otherwise, for my own personal stuff, I mean, I haven't been into a bank forever. I haven't written a check in forever. I mean, they've made it really easy not to go in banks anymore. So,
and especially like now with, I don't know if you call Venmo or PayPal a financial institution, but these are things that you can pay at Subway with or McDonald's sometimes. I mean, it's just becoming increasingly easy to not have cash.
Yes. I wonder when we're going to reach a tipping point where some businesses are like, oh, we don't take cash. Like, that's like a carrier pigeon bringing your money to us or something. We just don't do it that. And I've told you before, my kids occasionally will be like, hey, I need $5 for school today. We're ordering this. I'm like, I don't have cash. I have to go get that. Like, you got to warn me.
I keep some cash around at all times. I call it my petty cash. And and my sister knows. So if I'm out of the house and she needs some cash, she knows where I keep it. It's no more than $40-$60, and it's usually the mismatch of bills, 10, 5.
How often do you need that? Besides drug deals, I mean, who's taking just cash nowadays?
If I'm going to run to the convenience stores, if I'm going to buy a soda and I don't want to put it on my card, it's just easy for me to pull a couple bucks out of my petty cash.
Honestly, the only thing I need cash for nowadays, I'll give you one guess.
Pot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pot shops still are cash-only businesses, so... I'll go to the ATM, get my $40 in cash out, go to the pot shop, buy my stuff, and if I didn't need it for that, I don't know what I would use cash for anymore.
I notice a lot of the time if I get anything done for my home, whether it be like a landscaping job or having my roof cleaned, windows cleaned, something like that, a lot of the time those people will say, oh, if you pay in cash, I won't charge you tax. You get a little cheaper or whatever. So that I spend cash on. And then I will say, dude, that I have an emergency bag in my house.
A go bag?
Yeah, it's a go bag. I keep $1,000 cash in it.
Wow. Just for earthquakes or assassin attempts or something,
or power grid goes down. I mean, let's talk about it.
Nice. You got a gun in there too?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, look at you.
Yeah. All right.
I will say I do carry cash when I'm going to a restaurant for dinner, but only for the tip.
Yeah.
Because most servers would much prefer that you tip them in cash.
100%.
Because if you put it on the card, then at the end of the month or the end of the week or whatever, they'll get a check for that. But then taxes get taken out of their tips.
And by the way, it should be a gigantic red flag when a business tells you they're cash only. They're hiding money. That's the only reason a business is cash only.
I don't care, though.
I don't mean a red flag to us. Who cares? But if I worked for the IRS and I walked into some restaurant, they're like, we're cash only. I'd be like, okay, I'm auditing you next week.
Right. The next one on the list, dude, I would say, oh, yeah, that should have gone out of business a long time ago, but they're still so popular, and I don't use them. Travel agents. Travel agents responsible for planning and booking travel arrangements for clients. However, with the rise of online travel booking platforms and AI-powered travel agents, travel agent jobs are becoming less in demand. AI-powered travel agents can handle all the tasks that a human travel agent can and do it more efficiently. So goodbye to you, travel agent.
Yeah. So listen, I have not traveled a lot in my life, as I've talked about before. I've taken one adult vacation in my entire life. And that was a trip to Mexico. It was a couple of years ago. And any travel I ever have done has always been through websites, booking hotel rooms and plane tickets, car rentals, all that kind of stuff. And I had someone here in town tell me, hey, I've got a travel agent you should work with. And I laughed. It was just like, why would I work with a travel agent? It's like, that's so antiquated.
So 60s, you know.
Right. However, I will tell you, I sat down with this woman and I essentially said, here's my budget. Here's what I want to do. And she took it from there and ran with it. She got me better deals on hotel rooms, better flights, etc. She knew like what you want to rent a quad when you're down there. Like I know 3 quad places that are nearby. But the big thing that I really was glad was when we got evacuated for the hurricane in Mexico. I called the travel agent and was like, we're being evacuated. Like, what do I do? Do I have options to get out of here? Do I have options? And she started getting on the phone like, all right, if you take this train, you can get to this airport. We can fly to this thing. I can rebook you in Cancun instead. Like it was nice to have a human that actually had your back while you were traveling around the country or around the world, you know, and you're now in an emergency situation. But that's got to be 1 in 100, you know.
How much did she take from you, dude? How much did she?
Nothing. That was the other thing.
No.
She
got her money one way.
Yes, but not our way. So she has the agencies she works with. When she books a plane ticket through them or a hotel room for them, they give her a commission. So you don't have to pay her anything.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I was glad we had her, but I can see why you would not think you ever need or would want one, because you can certainly travel without one.
I've heard that they're good to have in some scenarios. Rachel's so good at travel that I don't ever feel like I need one. Like
right.
she
you guys
has
have
all
done
that
some
stuff
good trips.
planned out. Yeah, we've had some good ones. And I'll tell you what, dude, I could be a Jeffrey Dahmer zombie. Like really drugged up, and she could take me on these vacations, and I wouldn't need my wits. I wouldn't need anything about me. She's got it taken care of so well, dude, that I could walk around like an idiot for a week.
Well, that's nice. She's your travel agent. That is what you're telling me.
That's probably the truth. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Brewski, you ever use travel agents?
One time, and that was my aunt. She's a travel agent. When I went to France, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I mean, she just had to book me plane tickets and stuff like that, but it's international travel. I didn't know anything at all. And
I'll tell you, a couple of years ago, I started thinking about becoming a travel agent, at least on the part, on the downside or on the side, because a woman came to Tahoe who hosts a weekend travel radio show. And she came to the station to pitch me on putting her show on, and I got talking to her. This woman travels all over the world constantly for free because she does this radio show about travel. Wow. So she's always getting plane tickets, hotel rooms, cruises. I mean, she just travels all year round and does a radio show about it.
That's awesome.
I talk on the radio every day and I get nothing for it. So,
Hey, dude, this is another reason for you to start taking some of those telemarketing calls on your cell phone.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many vacations that I've taken over the years. Well, Hawaii being the last one, where the first 5 or 6 days of it was at a luxury resort that I went to for entirely free. I just got to watch a 90-minute little timeshare.
Time travel, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
They make us walk back to the future. And then, no, you've told me this. Yeah, they pitch you on timeshares, and then they comp you several nights.
Yeah. I went to the Dominican Republic for free for an all-inclusive resort for over a week on that. Didn't pay a dime for my, hotel.
And an all-inclusive. So you got the food and everything just for hearing a pitch?
Yep. 90 minutes, dude. And I've probably been I've probably been to 4 or 5 of them now. I got it down pat how to say no to that because going in, I say no. I'm not going to buy one.
Is it high pressure when they finally get done with the 90 minutes?
Some more than others. This one in Hawaii was the highest pressure I've ever been under, where they did not take my no second, third, fourth, fifth time, kept bringing in different people.
They're turning you. It's called
turning. Yeah, okay. So that was the most high pressure one, but I finally just said, look, guys, I'm broke. There's nothing you could say to me today that would make me be able to do this. You're wasting your time. So
I have a habit of burning hotels down. You sure you want me to?
So, no. But since that Hawaii trip and you and I have talked, I've got another one of those calls, and we've got another trip booked through it.
Interesting. Yeah, we got to talk sometime because I got to get out of town. I need to get on a beach somewhere. The cheaper, the better.
If you can take care of your hotel for a week, I mean, that's a big chunk. Yeah, I mean, you can afford to go on vacation.
Airfare and hotel are the two biggest expenditures. So if you can take one of those off your list, that's amazing.
Yeah. Next on the list is factory workers. That makes sense, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's a good job to automate. I told you guys one of my first jobs ever was on an assembly line, and I was working with The Walking Dead. It was a bunch of just mindless, beaten down people that just stand there on the assembly line doing the same repetitive motion all day. And I'm sure a robot could do it quicker with less complaints, less injuries, and everything else.
Yeah, one day you'll walk in and it'll look like George Jetson.
Yes. A good industry to go into, though, is fixing those things.
There you go. Right. I bet AI could probably fix it better than you.
Oh, that's Terminator right there. You got machines fixing machines. That's a slippery slope.
Customer service reps are the next on the list, responsible for handling customer inquiries and complaints. AI-powered chatbots can handle customer inquiries and complaints 24/7. So you get rid of that staff, your nighttime, your daytime.
You can be super racist with the AI chatbots when you're belittling them for messing up your product. Yeah.
I would think that you're going to have a floor, customer service reps floor of chatbots, but then that next level up, I got to be able to say, representative. I want a representative. There's got to be someone to take my complaint live and in person. Yeah.
There's a great bit on SNL recently about canceling cable, that it's impossible because you just keep getting transferred from one rep to the next and no one will let you cancel.
Right. They were on the phone for 3 hours trying to do it.
Exactly.
Next one on the list, sorry to say it, Brewski, but drivers, is it a possibility? We talk about the self-driving cars, and drivers are responsible for transporting people and goods from one location to another. However, the rise of autonomous vehicles, drivers' jobs are becoming increasingly automated.
Except they're not now, because California just pulled all those automated cars off the road because they were running red lights. And they were hitting people.
I was going to say, in San Francisco, that had taken over. There were already automated taxis. But Brewski's right. The technology's not quite there yet.
Not there yet. I mean,
But 10 years, 20 years, 30, I mean. Oof.
Think about this, though. Could you imagine if there was an auto-driving semi going down the road?
Yeah. I mean, that's moving death, right? I mean.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Here's what I'm thinking, dude. In this future America, the only smart way to do this, I think we're going to get to a point where we have lanes on the road just for AI vehicles. Like they all have to be in one lane. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, because are they going to get it right? I think someone's killed somebody with a autonomous vehicle.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So.
And caused accidents. One in San Francisco hit a fire truck or an ambulance on the way to some emergency. Lights on, trying to get through the intersection, and the autonomous vehicle didn't recognize it and plowed into the fire.
Oh, jeez. So,
yeah, but the technology definitely will get better. And I saw an interview recently with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and someone was asking him, give me one of your predictions for the future. And he was like, cars. Cars are ridiculous. You spend $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $80,000 on a car, and it sits in your driveway 90% of the time. That's preposterous. In the future, the car will come get you, take you where you need to go, and then that car is going to go get other people and take them where they need to go. You won't own cars anymore. It's ridiculous to spend that much money on something that sits in your garage most of the time.
But what about the fact I like to drive?
Yeah,
like,
me too.
I want to drive, dude. I want to go for a drive.
All right, Grandpa.
Especially with
that's
going to
age out,
dude.
Yes, I was going to say, much like your antiquated mustache, the notion of going for a Sunday drive, like we've talked about with a lot of this, like that's a spirit you're keeping alive that won't survive generationally down the road.
Gosh, how could you not like to just get in and drive?
Well, but you could. You're just going to sit there and drive, though. You're going to get the windshield time, but you're not.
No, but that's not the same thing as being an active participant. Step on the gas, and I want to be able to pass people, and I want to be able to flip people off.
Hey, how much road rage is there? How much drunk driving is there? AI can solve all of that. Like,
no, it's not fun to just sit back there.
I hear you. I'm just saying,
Steve, don't fight with us about this.
Steve,
listen, this is what I want to tell you. Yeah. We like to get in the car and be one with the automobile. Yeah. We want to drive.
Grandfather Harness used to love riding the horse around town.
Okay, so tell me, you don't feel some sort of visceral awesomeness when some jerk is just driving slow and you drive by and you know what, you effing suck, and you're like flipping them off. I love doing that.
Well, I've gone through years of therapy to stop doing that, but yes, you're right. There's something good about it.
Enjoy it, embrace it.
Right.
ChatGPT is predictably optimistic about a future dominated by AI, according to ChatGPT.
I'm sure it's optimistic.
Right. Of course. The robot. The rise of AI has brought on many benefits, but it has also raised concerns about job security. As we have seen in this article,
robots killing us all. That's the other thing it's raised concerns about.
You know what? This is my thought. Dwight Schrute from The Office had the greatest idea for AI.
Yeah.
You just make them plug in, dude, and give them a short cord, like 5-foot cord. You got to stay there.
I like Brewski's idea. Just don't make them waterproof. Then we can just hose them all down when they try to invade, right?
Yeah, exactly. So just start shooting them with the hose. Oh, my gosh.
I don't know what Sarah Connor's problem was. She didn't think of any of this stuff.
You'd always be strapped with the super soaker, just in case, Yeah.
Right. They say future wars will be fought over water. So
there you go. Yeah.
So there it is. Those are your jobs to steer clear of.
Okay. Well, radio DJ did not make it on the list, but it probably should be.
Let's hope not, dude. Let's hope we got another decade at least in us.
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. What we're doing, like talk shows, personality-based, you can't automate that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure you can come up with some crazy program and it would be entertaining to some extent. But no, this kind of stuff, the personality side, the human side, like that's going to stay. But the guy jocking records, here's a new one from Metallica. We got Alice in Chains coming up. It's 37 degrees today. Like, yeah, you can automate that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you probably can, dude. So, yeah, it's coming for sure. So maybe that's a good lesson, dude.
I mean, you can't, corporate America. You cannot do that.
You can't do it. I've been sitting on an article for a long time that we're going to have to talk about at some point in time, but All Access put out this article, and the title of the article was Radio and Loneliness, and why radio still matters, because there is a large population on this spinning rock that is lonely and finds comfort in radio. And we definitely saw that, dude. You remember all the old ladies who used to call us and just need to talk?
Yeah, no, we were that a voice people could call and talk to 24/7, and that's fun for us DJs. But from the corporate standpoint of maximizing profits and minimizing overhead, it doesn't mean anything. So,
but you know what though? Whenever I talk to people about radio, and in particular young people, because they're like, I don't listen to radio, I listen to podcasts and that sort of thing. I tell them the story of Jay Lalonde being in New Orleans for Hurricane Katrina. And being at that station for, I think it was 24 or 36 hours or something like that.
36, 48. It was a few days. Yeah.
Yeah. And people calling in and talking to them and saying, thank God you're there because you're giving us the information. And then it was just kind of another voice on the other end of the line that they could talk to, because these people were on their roof because their house was completely flooded to the second floor of their house.
And the way that played out is that he was at a high rise. and had just started that job. I think he was there for a couple of days. But he did broadcast what was going on. He could see the Superdome from where he was. He was giving the highlights, or lowlights rather, as they were, of what was going on around town. But the way that ended was him broadcasting live from that roof and being airlifted off of it. I mean, you cannot get that anywhere but radio.
You know what I hear when you guys say all that?
What?
Think of the liability for having my employee at the radio station during a flood. I could broadcast from anywhere on this planet. I don't need you sitting there answering the phone. It's a toll-free number routed to our corporate office in
he couldn't get out.
Land.
But he couldn't get out.
He shouldn't have been there in the first place. That's what I'm saying. I can sit in one office and run 5,000 radio stations around this country. I'm not advocating. I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying that's how corporate ownership thinks of things.
Man,
like now I got an employee.
Dude.
Oh, I know, but
this is what I want you to know.
How much workers' comp cost? Jesus, I mean,
you're busting my mellow.
Yeah, you are completely busting my mellow. Dude.
We are all holding on to an antiquated notion of so many things, and we're not wrong. Like, these are good things. It is better to have humans at a radio station locally doing their thing. But you're talking about Hurricane Katrina. What did that happen 20 years ago? Like, how often does that happen? A corporation is not going to spend all that time and risk for the one in a blue moon incident that it pays off for.
Think about all the hurricanes that have happened down in Florida and on the Gulf Coast. I mean, they're happening so often and with such ferocity that people can't even afford homeowners insurance in Florida anymore. You talked about the fire insurance where you are. I've heard homeowners insurance in Florida. People are saying, it was like $1,000, a couple of years ago. Now all of a sudden it's like $4,000, $5,000 for the year.
Right. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that's not how corporations look at it.
I get it.
Put everyone in Kansas in the middle of dry land where no floods are going to happen, no earthquakes,
tornadoes.
Let them have every radio station and at the fingertips of their laptops. Like, I don't know. There are a lot of things that should be held on to, but some of it is for purely nostalgic reasons, and that's just going to fade generationally. So I would be curious to know what our work world will look like 50 and 100 years from now. It'll definitely be different.
Well, like I always like to point out, like, I don't really care. Like, if you give me 50 years, dude, if I'm not dead, I'm going to be 97. But then I start to think about all your offspring and my nieces and stuff, and then I feel some sort of responsibility for making it an okay place for them, right?
No, it's true. To some extent, you have to kind of lean on the free market. Like I was just saying, okay, so the factory jobs are going to be taken over by robots, but somebody's got to fix those robots. Somebody has to sell the robots. Somebody has to maintain the software to let them do all this automated things. Like, you got to get one step ahead of the game, and then there is job security. But yeah, I get it, though. I mean, there's some tragedy in a lot of these jobs being lost.
You're speaking of tragedies. Should we talk about a quick tragedy before we leave, Stephen?
Sure. What do you got?
We should probably mention that Chandler Bing took the eternal exit.
Yeah, he lost a friend. That's another, like, geez, I feel like these are people from my generation, quote unquote, dying, but he also didn't die of natural causes, though. I mean, I don't think drowning from probably being too high is a natural cause.
Yeah, I don't even know if we can say it yet, right? Because, I mean, obviously, with his past addiction, I think that's what people are assuming. But
how do you drown in your own hot tub? You have to lose consciousness somehow.
You can fall asleep. I mean, I suppose you could fall
You would
asleep.
wake up. You would wake up. As soon as you start choking on water, you'd wake up. If you just fell asleep, not if you passed out. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's
yeah. I don't know. Maybe he got low blood sugar, dude.
Could have been a heart attack in the tub. You know?
That's true. I didn't think.
But would they say the cause of death is drowning if it's a heart attack, though?
Well, one leads to the other, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, Lisa Kudrow came out and said that my assumption is he was doing something that doesn't mix well with being in warm water. And to me, that's drinking too much or some downer or something that when you're in warm water, you would just slip into unconsciousness and drown.
Yeah.
We'll find out. I mean, there's going to have to be an autopsy, and I'm sure they'll talk about it. But yeah, no, that was a tough one to see, and I feel bad for one of my heroes who happens to be Chandler Bing's stepfather. Do you know who it is?
one of your heroes who's Chandler Bing, like Matthew Perry's stepfather, or in the show Chandler Bing?
No, Matthew Perry.
His who's that? No, I don't know who you're referencing.
See if you could get it from this, okay? And who drinks antifreeze anyway? Keith Morrison, dude. Keith Morrison is Matthew Perry's stepdad.
Even when you tell me the guy's name, I don't know what you're talking about. Who's Keith Morrison?
Are you kidding me? You don't know who Keith Morrison is? One of the greatest voices of our generation?
I know Keith Moon. Wasn't he in the Rolling
Keith
Stone?
Morrison, dude. He's now he's currently a Dateline reporter, but I mean he's been you know who he is, right?
I don't watch the Dateline stuff, so no.
Is that the they had the perfect marriage?
Yes,
yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy right there. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't watch that stuff.
But that was his stepdad?
Yeah, that was his stepdad, and that's a tough one, dude. I mean, I feel bad for Keith right now.
Well, maybe there's going to be a future Dateline special coming that'll get to the bottom of this thing.
Oh, there could be, right? I didn't even think about that.
Right. So far, my least favorite, too soon meme. A friend of mine posted a picture of David Schwimmer of Ross, right?
Oh,
yeah.
And it says Schwimmer, and then it has a picture of Bing in a hot tub saying not Schwimmer.
Oh,
not a swimmer
dude,
is what they're.
Yes.
Swimmer, not swimmer.
Yeah,
Swimmer,
yeah.
not swimmer.
It's way too soon, dude. Here, this is Keith Morrison.
Hello, I'm Keith Morrison. What is it they say? There's no such thing as the perfect guy.
Oh.
In our hiding in plain sight Dateline 24/7 marathon, that may well turn out to be true.
I mean, he's got a golden voice, dude.
Wow. So that's what they say. And what Chandler Bing say about his death? Come on.
Yeah. Could I be any more Dad?
I think he would appreciate that. I mean,
I think so, dude.
Poor Chandler, the first to go.
Could there be any more water in my lungs? I mean,
ouch. That's too soon. Nick.
What? Whoa.
Wow.
All right. Well, here's the truth of the matter is I will miss Chandler Bing. I watch Friends all the time. It's one of Rachel's favorite shows, and he's definitely was the best person on that show. So R.I.P. Chandler Bing, R.I.P.
Yeah. The best man on the show, maybe. I mean, as long as, speaking of Rachel, as long as Jennifer Aniston and Rachel's still alive, I still have something to wake up for every day. So,
well, you're horny for her, but I mean,
oh, yeah.
Funny.
She's my celebrity all time. So,
yes, but the funniest person on the show was definitely Chandler Bing.
Okay. I'll give you that one. All right.
Brewski?
I wasn't a fan of that show, so.
Yeah, you're glad he's dead. I get it.
No, nothing like
Is that what you said?
All right.
Well, there's a terrible clip circulated. Terrible, by the way. I say sad. There was an episode where Chandler moves out of the apartment with Joey.
Yeah.
And Joey and Chandler are saying goodbye to each other. And, Joey leaves and then runs back in and gives Chandler a hug. And then Joey leaves and Chandler looks around the empty apartment and just walks into his room.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing that circulating as him saying his goodbye.
Yeah.
I've been seeing it too. So, yeah, Matthew Perry, gone but not forgotten.
Yeah. When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. Good golly. You're drowning your own hot tub. I mean,
oh, jeez.
Can you leave it on a high note, dude? Come on. I don't want to leave it on that.
How can you be sad with that theme song in your head now? Come on.
Well, that's going to wrap up the show. The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Chandler's body.
What?
Got to wrap it up. You got to cover that stuff, right?
No, dude.
We're just gonna bury it, okay? Let's just bury it,
guys. Stop it.
I know this is all hard to swallow, like a hot tub full of water. All right, I'm done. Just like Chandler, I'm done. It's over.
It's the Vocal Minority with Steven Brewski.
Nick wants no part of this.
No, I don't.
All right, complain online, thevocalminority.net. Find us on the socials and ridicule us there.
Do it, Brewski.
Yeah, goodbye.
And we say bye-bye.
Test 1 2, test 1 2.
Check. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Nick Reynolds, Steve Harness, and Cousin Brewski. The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Take one.